Are you being ignored by someone you care about? If so, you know it's one of the most frustrating and difficult situations to deal with, especially when you don't know what to do about it. That's why in this video, I'm going to share the top reasons why a man might be ignoring you, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to say and do about it. So don't go anywhere because we're starting in 3 seconds. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Antonio Borrello. Welcome to another video. This channel is all about helping you build great relationships so you can grow happy with the people you love. So, if you're interested in making your love life the best part of your life, start now by clicking the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you aren't missing anything. Okay, before we get into the video, I'm giving away 2 $50 Amazon gift cards to 2 of the first 100 subscribers who comment on this video in response to a question I asked. So make sure you watch the whole video so you know what question to answer. Okay, on to what to do when a man ignores you. Being ignored by a person you care about is one of the worst emotions. It's right there next to rejection, maybe worse. In fact, ignoring someone is a way of inflicting pain on another person without visible bruising. And that's not a metaphor. The silent treatment activates the same area of the brain that is activated by physical pain. So you feel physical pain. Being ignored is frustrating and hurtful and unfortunately all too common in dating relationships. But why? Well, people resort to ignoring you for several reasons, including wanting to manipulate you, control you, punish you, or to break up with you. Here's an example. Everything starts out great. He's giving you tons of attention, making plans to see you. He's keeping in touch on the phone and with his texts. Basically, things feel perfect. But then, something happens. He stops calling and has become less responsive to you, and perhaps he doesn't even respond to you at all, as in the case when someone ghosts you. And that's when you start questioning everything, replaying everything in your head over and over, trying to figure out what happened. Was it something you said? Did he learn something about you that he didn't like? Another example is when someone plays the silent treatment game, or should I say the silent treatment abuse on you. This usually happens after a disagreement or a fight and is intended to punish you. The silent treatment is really a form of emotional abuse that's designed to place him in a position of control, so he can avoid personal responsibility or to punish you for your feelings. And the result of the silent treatment is exactly what the game player wishes to create: a reaction from you and a sense of control when you try to respond. And FYI, being ignored is incredibly difficult to handle and often makes you feel like you're in a panic mode. And here's why. Being ignored forces you to deal with uncertainty and ambiguity. And the brain does not like uncertainty or ambiguity, especially when you can imagine scenarios in which you are threatened or fear a loss. I've talked about this before. It's a phenomenon that has been well researched. For example, a 2005 university study concerned with human decision-making found that even a little bit of ambiguity will activate the amygdala, the region of the brain responsible for processing emotional reactions and threat responses. The researchers found that the amygdala lights up on neuroimaging scans when we deal with ambiguity and uncertainty. In other words, the more uncertainty and ambiguity, the more the amygdala registers a threat response. And it's so difficult to handle because that part of your brain can't separate physical threats like someone coming at you with a knife from silly threats like someone not responding to your text message. So when you're being ignored, it makes you feel almost like you're panicking. And then you'll have people who say things like, just forget about it. What's the big deal? He isn't responding to you or he's ignoring you. Get over it. But it's not so easy. And trying to talk yourself out of it isn't super effective either, because not only does the uncertainty feel threatening and anxiety provoking, being ignored can have serious physical side effects as well. The silent treatment, even if it's brief, also activates the anterior cingulate cortex, the part of the brain that detects physical pain. Yes, you heard me correctly. The initial pain is the same in your brain as physical pain and causes physical symptoms too. Symptoms could include things like headaches or stomach pains, as well as insomnia and anxiety and fatigue. Yeah, being ignored hurts and it sucks a lot. So if you're being ignored, how do you handle it? Well, first I want to generalize the reasons why someone is ignoring you into just 2 categories. The first is because they're just not into you. In other words, they want to break up with you. The second reason, they are ignoring you as a form of punishment to manipulate or control you in some way. The first one, he's trying to break up with you. Oftentimes, someone you're dating becomes distant because they're afraid of the confrontation of breaking up with you. They would rather fade out of a relationship than end it properly. So, if you feel him pulling away and making excuses not to see you, then he's using ignoring you as a breakup method. He's hoping that you will eventually get fed up of being ignored and end the relationship yourself. Or you'll just stop trying and the relationship will fizzle out without any kind of confrontation. So, what can you do? Instead of being strung along, tell him that if this isn't working out for him, you'll understand. Then you'll have the opportunity to move on without any doubt or hesitation. So, if he wants to break up, you've just given him the opportunity. And if he doesn't want to break up, it gives you an opportunity to communicate about your needs and expectations. On the other hand, sometimes they just go radio silent, no communication or responses, and they may even block communication with you altogether. Yet you have no idea why. So you're left wondering what happened. But regardless of their tactics, people who do this are primarily focused on avoiding their own emotional discomfort, and they aren't thinking about how it makes the other person feel. And if you don't have friends in common or run in the same social circle, they are banking on the possibility that they never have to deal with it. So, if this happens to you, it's a bit more difficult to handle because it might take some time for you to realize that you've been left. While you're waiting for a response, you'll question whether the other person got your text or saw your missed calls. Communication failures happen all the time, so it's possible your partner thought that they responded but you never received the message. So, make a friendly phone call or send a brief message checking on them and remind them that you had tried to make contact. If you still don't hear from them within a few days, it's time to accept the fact that you're being ghosted. And if you still have no idea why he disappeared on you and is ignoring you, you've got to come to the conclusion that it's not about you at all. Maybe his ex popped back into his life and they want to try to get back together. Or perhaps he was lying to you about some aspect of his life and he doesn't want to get exposed. There are so many possibilities. So, if you've been ghosted and there wasn't an obvious disagreement or falling out that you regret, go easy on yourself because it's probably not about you at all. The second and probably more common example is when someone is ignoring you as a form of punishment and manipulation. When someone is intentionally ignoring you to punish you, it's because he wants you to feel the pain that uncertainty provokes. He may be motivated by revenge. He feels that you ignored him, so he's doing the same. If you're in the middle of an argument, he might be ignoring you until the situation calms down, especially if he's uncomfortable with conflict or feels that arguing is counterproductive. Even so, being ignored when you're angry is incredibly frustrating and not a healthy way to solve a dispute. And the silent treatment is tremendously damaging to a relationship. It decreases relationship satisfaction for both partners. It diminishes feelings of intimacy and it reduces the capacity to communicate in a way that's healthy and meaningful. Yet it is still the most common pattern of conflict in any committed and established romantic relationship, and it does tremendous damage. So, how should you deal with this? Well, do your best to find out what is wrong. Do not give them the silent treatment back. If one or both of you need space, establish that. And since communication is often the issue, try to discuss and understand the situation, because understanding is key here. But if your attempts to communicate go unanswered after a day or so, consider sending him this message. Hey, I see that you're not responding to me. I'm not sure why, but I want to understand why you're angry or upset or sad. If you're not ready to talk or need space, I get it. The silence is hard for me. Could you let me know? Maybe we can find a time to talk in the next few days, but I can't continue with this relationship if you keep shutting me out. And that will often do the trick. But if it doesn't, please don't do any of these. Don't do any of the following. Don't keep calling and texting. If there's a legitimate reason why he's not responding as much, over-texting or over-calling just to get an answer will come off as possessive, insecure, and a little crazy. Trust me, he's seeing your calls and texts. Besides, if he didn't see that you've been trying to reach out, shouldn't he be concerned and reach out to you? So yeah, he's seeing that you reached out. If he still doesn't respond after a week, you may need to come to grips with the fact that you've been ghosted. And 2, don't do this either. No begging and no pleading. Regardless of how much it hurts, you can't beg or plead with the person to communicate with you or to stay with you. When you do and when you get rejected, you will only hurt more and feel helpless and frustrated. And begging and pleading will make them cringe and feel sorry for you. And if they are ignoring you because they can't handle confrontation, they certainly will move further away if they know that you're begging and pleading. Don't do it. And the third thing, don't resort to hurtful insults, name calling, or picking a fight. Of course you're angry, but confrontations or saying something hurtful will be something that you later regret. Don't do it. Look, I know how frustrating it is to feel like you're being ignored. It can be a powerful form of abuse. But sometimes it happens in the middle of a heated argument, and temporary silence can be healthy, especially to avoid exacerbating the situation or to avoid saying something that is later regretted. However, deliberately giving someone the silent treatment as a method of control or punishment is abusive. It's not problem solving. When there's a problem between two people, the only healthy thing is to engage in dialogue to find solutions. Silence and distance only generate more problems and, in the end, solve absolutely nothing. Oh, and about those Amazon gift cards. I really want to create videos that are going to be the most helpful to you. And I think I know of good topics that are helpful, but ultimately, you all know what you would like to see. So I'm hoping to get at least 100 comments on this video suggesting topics that you'd like me to talk about in a future video. So yeah, please make sure that you are subscribed and then leave your ideas in the comment section. Once I get 100 comments, I'm going to randomly pick 2 comments out of the first 100, and those people will get a $50 Amazon gift card through email. So take a moment, like this video, and leave a comment. That's all you have to do. Oh, and make sure that you check back in the comments to see if you won. Last time, the person who won the gift card didn't see that they were chosen for almost 2 weeks. And lastly, if you're being ignored as a form of manipulation, chances are good that you're in an emotionally abusive relationship. Click here to see a video that will help you to identify the earliest warning signs. I'll see you in that video.